Hello everyone, Mrs. Uylaki here. I'm just here to make a video to let you know what my writing expectations are for the students when you're doing your e-learning writing assignments. I know we're kind of struggling to figure out how to do everything day to day, and I just wanted to give you guys some good tips on what I look for when I am doing writing in my own class. So in our e-learning assignments, I usually give you a book or a writing prompt to write about, and my expectations for my students at this point in the year is to be writing at least 2 sentences. I have some students that will write 20 sentences. We usually spend about 10 to 15 minutes writing, and it's usually quiet so that they can gather their thoughts. So as long as they can meet these expectations, you don't have to spend the full 15 minutes on it. Although if they are really loving writing and they want to spend more time on it, absolutely let them have fun with it. So number one, I want to make sure that you guys know that these students should be writing at least 2 sentences at the very least. My kids have been writing 3, 4, 5 sentences depending on their level of interest on the topic. So number one, 2 or more sentences every time they're writing. Okay, next, when they are writing, they should be putting a finger space down in between their words so that their words don't look like, I always say like mashed potatoes, and you can't tell one word from the next. So they should be placing their finger down in between their words to make sure that they have a space. So number 2, make sure they have finger spacing. Okay, number 3, you want to make sure that they have a period at the end of their sentence. They know that they need to have punctuation. My kids do know about question marks and exclamation marks, so they are allowed to use those if it fits what they're writing about. They do know that they are only supposed to put a maximum of 3 exclamation marks if they're really excited about something. My kids really like to give 3 exclamation marks. So the end of the sentences must have punctuation. You like how I did that? Also, number 4, we want to make sure that they are using capital letters at the beginning of each sentence. If they're only doing 2 sentences, then they're only going to have 2 capital letters. We haven't really talked much about proper nouns having capital letters, but if it comes up in your writing or in their writing, you can go ahead and teach that. Those types of teachable moments when it's actually something that they're in the middle of doing are kind of the most authentic moments, and that's when they're going to really remember what you were teaching them. I'm actually really excited about this because doing one-on-one writing with a child is so much easier than it would be for me to have 22 kids. You guys are actually going to be able to do a better job than I am. Okay, so we want capital letters at the beginning of sentences. Capital letters at beginning. Also start to pay attention to whether they are putting capital letters in the middle of their words. We're kind of wanting to phase that out best we can, because when they get to 1st grade, their 1st grade teachers are going to expect that they're writing with capital letters at the beginning and lowercase letters throughout the rest of the sentences. Now, some tips. When the kids are writing, I do not spell out words for them. I always tell them to say it slow like a turtle, stretch it out like a snake, say all the sounds that you hear and write down the sounds that you hear. So even in a word that's big like aquarium, I might repeat the word slowly for them so that they can hear all the sounds. And we'll get through it slowly. And if they don't know any of those sounds, they can skip over that and go to the next sound that they do know. So it really helps them to start thinking about an entire word. I'm not overly concerned about words being spelled correctly because they haven't had exposure to every word in the world. So I always tell them if I can read it, then it's perfect. It doesn't need to be spelled exactly right. I really try and get them away from that because we have a lot of students that are always really worried about making sure that they have everything spelled perfectly correctly. And I try to get them out of that because they will focus on a word that they don't know how to spell and it'll take up the whole writing time if they just sit there and get frustrated and think about it. So the strategy is just sound it out, write down all the sounds that you hear. And if you don't know any of them, skip over it, go to the next, and then keep moving. Most words like CVC words or CVCE words like make, that's a CVCE word, pig is a CVC word. They can sound all that stuff out. Don't let them trick you into thinking they can't, because they can. Also, I let them use my word wall during writing time. Well, since we don't have a word wall, I did take a picture of my word wall and I added it as an attachment in the writing assignments. So you could pop that open after they get the beginning of their sentence written and they can use it. They know that if they need to spell the word there, they can zoom in on the T because it begins with TH, and they know that the is a TH word. So they can zoom in and look for the word, and you can kind of guide them, what do you think it ends with? Like if they're way off, you can tell them they're way off, but having them look for it sort of solidifies it in their brain as well. And I think that might be it. If they have anything additional that they want to learn about, this is actually a really awesome time for you guys to be able to take those real organic moments that pop up when they really want to know something. Now, if I taught something to a whole class and 75% of the class wasn't ready to hear it, 75% of the kids aren't going to hear it. But if they're asking you, I can't even think of a good example right now. There's so many teachable moments that we have that I never planned for that the kids come up with on their own. I just can't stress how much of an opportunity this is for you guys to be able to teach those really important little things that would get taught in school, but you're going to be able to do it one-on-one, so you're going to be able to answer all those questions. So as long as you guys are having your kids follow these expectations, I do have other writing goals, but we're not going to worry about those right now. If they're getting through 2 sentences really quickly, you can have them, if you think that they can do 4 sentences, have them do 4 sentences. Don't just make it easy on them, challenge them. Some kids like to write all day long, and I'm not too concerned about kids starting starting sentences with and or because or anything like that just yet. Right now, they're just getting down the basics, and we'll refine all that stuff later. I hope this answered some questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me. I love teaching writing. I feel like my kids are awesome writers because of the expectations that I have of them. So if you keep it up, they know what they're doing. They might actually help you out on some of this stuff. So, all right, thank you. Have a great day.